Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the biggest stars in the world and some of my favourite people. And a man who shot to fame last year on America's Got Talent is Mat Franco. He's here at the LINQ in Vegas with his own show. How are you?
I'm doing great. That was a heck of an intro.
Well, it is remarkable for a guy who is just a kid in his bedroom doing magic to one day get your own show in Las Vegas and then have $1 million in the bank for winning America's Got Talent. It's quite a story.
It's strange, yeah. It's something I never expected, never asked for, never meant to happen. I mean, sure, I went and auditioned for the show, but I was just hoping to get some video footage. For real. I certainly never guessed that I would even go to the next round and then voted through over and over again to ultimately win the show. That was just completely surreal for me and the biggest epiphany I could imagine.
You've got a warmth and a charm about you. That plays a big part. If we look at Paul Zerdin, who won, I hear the girls talking. They're not really interested in the puppets. Oh, he's nice. They do like a nice bit of trouser, don't they?
A bit of trouser. That's a funny expression.
You've never heard that? A nice bit of trouser. It's something I've never been described as, by the way. Deeply unattractive.
Oh, come on. You've heard it a couple of times.
Only when I'm paying. But no, it does help, doesn't it? Charm and warmth is part of the key to being successful.
Yeah, for me, it's I suppose all of those things are part of a full package, I guess is what they call it. And for me, it's about connecting with the audience. So whether we've seen a lot of different types of variety acts win here in America anyway, with America's Got Talent. We've seen really a big variety. Sometimes they're like old ladies, or sometimes the ones who go really far could be like a homeless man who plays the guitar and sings really well. You see a lot. So I think with that show it really is different because you have it's apples and oranges. How can you compare magic with comedy and music? It's just so much. It's a culmination. It's just you never know who's going to vote for what. So I'm just happy it turned out the way it did.
Have you analysed why you were the one that made it to the final and ultimately took the prize?
I've thought about it, and I guess ultimately the simple answer is it just comes down to who people vote for. But then you get deeper. Why do people vote, and why do they vote for who? And I think it's a matter of connecting with the audience. That's what it is for me. With magic, sometimes people go on the defensive. When someone's going to do magic, they feel like, oh, you're going to steal my watch, you're going to steal my wallet. That's not my style. So what I try to do is connect with people and bring them in instead of push them out.
It's an incredible life you've had, and at 27 years old to be sat here talking to me about your own show in Vegas must be living the dream. I guess for any magician, this is it. This is what you all want, a show in Vegas.
I suppose. For me, it was just a matter of wanting to do what I love to do for a living. So, I thought I had made it, quote unquote, years ago, when I was just doing my act for colleges all across the country, driving around from place to place and doing my little one-man show. That was it for me. And I was just thinking about, wow, I wonder how long I can stay young enough to the point where this isn't creepy to be going to college campuses and doing shows for college kids. And little did I know that it would I had blinders on. I didn't know there was so much more opportunity out there that would be available to me. So Vegas was never even in my radar at all until it was literally offered to me as a result of everything I was doing.
I guess to have your own showroom, you can have a relatively normal life.
That is true. The quality of life is different because now I can literally just walk in, 20 minutes before a show, go on, do it, and then leave after the show and not have to travel 12 hours to get to the next gig. It's a 10-minute commute instead. So again, wasn't on my radar, but it is amazing because on the road, it can be tough, especially, at the level I was doing it. It's not glamorous travel. It was me landing, renting a car, and then driving more hours forever to get to where I had to go to these middle of the nowhere areas to get to the colleges that were willing to have me.
We should talk about your act. You're not going for the big, explosive, mega illusion shows that there are many of here in Las Vegas. You're doing more intimate magic. That's deliberate. That's something you always wanted to do. You didn't want to saw a woman in half. You wanted to do intimate card tricks.
I wanted to do something that just hadn't been done, something that was a sort of, I guess people call it a gutsy approach, but I never thought of it that way. Even on America's Got Talent, people thought my approach was gutsy because in previous seasons it always had been about whoever has the biggest box in the next round, make it bigger, make it better. And my approach was pretty much the exact opposite, and not worrying about the size of anything, whether it's big or small, as long as it has the illusion of scale and I'm connecting with people was the point. But here in Vegas, like you said, we have so many of those big, illusion type things. I mean, that's what people expect. So yes, it's weird that I'm giving people the opposite of what they expect, but I hope they agree with you that it's refreshing and different. But really what I'm doing, it wasn't so much deliberate to be different, it was just deliberate to do what I enjoy doing and what's true to me.
Reinventing Magic Nightly is the name of the show. How do you reinvent magic? Because let's face it, you've either got to make somebody disappear, chop somebody in half, be a smart ass and make the car reappear. It's a difficult task, isn't it, to reinvent magic?
Yeah, it's totally difficult. And we call the show that for a couple of reasons. One, as you can imagine, the main reason is that the ending of the show does change every night. It's never the same. I tell a story at the end of the show, and without giving too much away, there's no way that I can tell that story the same way twice. And that's what I mean by reinvented. In terms of reinventing magic in the other sense of sort of pushing the art forward, to me, right, there are only several basic effects that we can achieve. Things can appear, disappear, levitate, restore themselves after they've been torn, whatever. There are a few effects that we're all dealing with, and it's how you frame them. So what I try to do is frame all of these different types of effects in ways that I feel make people care about what we're doing. So it's not just tricks. I like to add another layer. So I like to add a story to it, whether that's to make people have an emotional impact or make it funny or just something that's an extra layer to give people a reason to care. Because if it's just trick after trick after trick, how many times can you just say, wow, how did you do that? Wow, how did you do that? I want there to be a range of emotions other than just that. How do you do that is just one small part of it for me, I hope.
And what's the magic community like here? I mean, it can be incredibly competitive and bitchy, and even already some have said that you've stolen this or borrowed that. Do you take all that on your chin and think, just get on with it, let's all just compete for an audience and the longest survivor will be the winner?
I never think of it as a competition whatsoever. I'm just doing what I do. I know that it benefits everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a magician or a comedian or music. It benefits everyone involved to differentiate whatever I'm doing from whatever they're doing as much as possible, you know, brand-wise, magic-wise, all of the above. So to me, I worry a lot less about what other people do or say and focus on the crazy things that I want to try to make come to fruition.
And again, the blessing of TV and national exposure is just brilliant. I mean, a full audience tonight, that's so rare in this town. I mean, there are people giving away free tickets to get an audience in. That's a great thrill and an advantage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing to see how good business has been. I'm so shocked with how awesome Vegas audiences have been. Vegas is the type of place where people can make last-minute decisions to buy tickets to which show because there are so many awesome shows here. So I wasn't sure how enthusiastic those types of audiences would be. And wow, they're just some of the best I've ever had. Really, really awesome. Business has been so much fun and so good. And yeah, I think I owe much of that to not just America's Got Talent, but I mean, I just also did a 2-hour special on NBC here in the States. And wow, what a fun process that was. And I do think it makes people want to see it live. They watch it on TV and think, wow, this can't be really happening. But that's why I make sure the stuff that you see on the TV, I also play the hits here live and in person.
I love your courage. When I sat in my chair tonight, there was a guy in the audience who was so drunk, and I seriously wondered whether he was going to ruin your entire show. I guess you've seen it all before.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you, performing for drunk people, not always easy, but I come from the college circuit, my friend. You know, I have years of it under the belt. In fact, that's where I, paid my dues. Not to say that I'm not still paying them, you know. I always try to make things better as much as possible and perform as much as possible. But yeah, that's where my experience comes prior to this. As soon as I finished college, I did magic full time for that audience. So I've seen everything from really awesome, enthusiastic audiences on college campuses to 40 to 50 students in a small dining hall when you have a stage that's 6 inches off the ground, if that, or no stage at all. And you know, you really have to, sometimes the audience wasn't even there to see you. They were there to go get a snack and a sandwich, and there you are. They just throw you out there to do 60 minutes of material for people who don't even want to watch. So you learn really fast how to captivate the audience. And sometimes those are some of the most fun shows when you get everyone on board because you have to work for it.
I mean, we look at the audience, and you did a bit with one of the guys who put some cards down his trousers. The audience just love it, don't they?
Yeah, and that flight time that I talked about is part of what helps you be able to roll with those punches. And that's part of Reinvented too. I mean, we really never know what the audience is going to do, because I think what we're doing here involves much more audience participation than the typical show, even typical magic show, because I don't want people to be sitting watching. I want them to sort of be part of it. And that's why I have so many people come up throughout the show. And that's why I spend so much time even in the house with the crowd. So yeah, when a guy takes cards and shoves them down his pants, you gotta be in that moment. You can't just phone it in at that point. No way. You have to be able to respond to it, no matter what it is that he's doing, even if it's that.
The question I've asked many winners of X Factor and Britain's Got Talent and America's Got Talent, Terry Fator across the street, I asked him the same question. How do you keep your nerve when the whole nation's tuning in? It's the final. You've got 4 judges watching you who are going to decide your future. If you're second, you're going to be forgotten quickly. If you win, you're going to be made. How do you keep your nerve?
I think it has something to do with the fact that you don't have a choice. There's no turning back at that point. There's nothing else you can do. You can't just withdraw. I mean, I suppose you could, but I obviously would never do that. Once you get voted through, even though I said I just was there to hopefully get video footage, then you get this syndrome here. You know, they give you a little bit. You get a taste of what it means to go to the next round, and it's like, well, I gotta try to go through again. You know, and you keep saying that over and over, and you just find yourself. I will tell you, there are sleepless nights. You are just constantly thinking about it. It's life-consuming for the entire period. At least it was for me, the entire period of being on the show. But what a fun, awesome experience, and sort of a once-in-a-lifetime thing that could happen to you. So I embraced it. But when I went back as a guest this year and, you know, saw some of the contestants and gave them some words of encouragement, I certainly didn't envy their position, because it was really nice to be there and not have to worry about being voted off. Oh, it's nerve-wracking.
And as an experience, do they treat you well?
Yeah, you know, it really was for me. And, you know, you'll hear mixed reviews from contestants. Some are more divas than others. But for me, I just felt so thankful to have, once you get to the live shows, I was so thankful to have a team of people, their producers that are the best in the business. It's a huge show, you know, it's the #1 summer show here. So when you're working with the lighting guy and the director of the show and the props department, chances are they are the best at what they do. That's why they work for America's Got Talent. So for me, coming from a background of just doing everything myself, it was like a dream come true to actually have other people involved to make these crazy ideas come to fruition. And to me, the tricks aren't what's so important. You know, if people perceive magic to be that way, but for me, it's all in the presentation and the fun and the story that you get along the way. Sure, if you're watching a movie and you see the boom come in and you see the microphone at the top, it doesn't ruin the whole story, but it does take you out of the moment for a minute. I think magic can be the same way. You know, if you see something you're not supposed to see, it doesn't ruin the whole plot line, but it takes you out of the moment for a second, and we don't want that.
And then you log on to your bank account and you see this amount of money arrive. How does that feel?
That was interesting, because the money aspect of it was something, again, I wasn't on there to win. I never even considered that a possibility. So when it was after I had won, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I won money with this too. It's so funny, because after I won, and I thought of that, I was like, wow, I guess, you know, I canceled a lot of gigs to continue every time I'd get voted through, I'd have to pick up the phone and be like, guys, I'm sorry, I got voted through to the next round. I never thought this would happen, but I can't come to Kansas tomorrow, next week. I'm so sorry, but we will reschedule. So I was thinking about, oh man, I feel bad. I'm losing all this money from these gigs. But then I realized, oh no, I got this cash prize coming to me. I guess it's all okay. But I'm not really materialistic. So people always ask me, what was the first thing you bought? I didn't buy anything. I have the same car I had since before.
Okay, this is ridiculous. Back up a minute. So there's $1 million in your bank account and you don't treat yourself to anything.
Nothing. I've always said, people have asked me that right away after the win, and they said, what are you going to do? And I said, oh, I'll go on a vacation. I have not had the time for that yet. I would like to do that at some point, but man, it just hasn't happened yet.
So you've not treated yourself to the big showbiz house. You say you drive the same car.
I do. Yeah, I do.
Well, what's the point? I mean, you might as well give it to me. I could enjoy it. I could go on holiday.
Yeah, I mean, I like to. It's nice to just not have to be concerned about money all the time and how many gigs you have this week and what's coming up, and it's not this paycheck to paycheck sort of lifestyle, which is awesome, and it just gives you that comfort that I think we all want, you know, that we all feel good about. So that to me is really great enough. So just to sort of not have to be so concerned. But yeah, and it's also nice to know, like, if there is something that comes along that's like that I wouldn't have been able to have otherwise, it'd be nice to be able to obtain it. But again, material things aren't necessarily what, like, you know, I thrive off of. You know, to me, I feel like I can have fun in a cardboard box by myself. Like, it just doesn't take much. You know, hand me a deck of cards and I'll sit and be entertained for an hour, or hours, or even just a cheap guitar, and I'll have fun because I use music as a hobby. You know, once magic becomes your full-time thing, it's nice to have a hobby that you're allowed to be bad at, because it's not a professional thing.
You should try and put it in the show just to remind people that you can't be 100% perfect.
Yeah, put my bad guitar playing in the show.
Nice 20-minute section, something like that.
I wonder how that would go over.
Yeah, let's do it tomorrow and let me know.
Yeah.
And then we look at the fact your name's now above the theatre and people are coming to see you instead of you're going to see them.
Yes.
That is the showbiz dream.
I think so. I didn't know that until I started doing it, but yeah, I think it is.
It's humbling, isn't it, to think people have gone to work, they've spent 8 hours earning money, and now they're going to give it to you for 90 minutes.
It's absolutely crazy. So that's one of the reasons I try to give them the best I've got each night, because they deserve that. They don't deserve to hear my guitar playing. But maybe next time you come back, I'll put it in there just to hear you bash it in the interview afterwards.
I look forward to that. That would be brilliant. Let's review then. I mean, you're 27 years old. Right. You're a good-looking lad. You've got $1 million in the bank. Does life get any better? Look at this face. I mean, imagine being me, how depressing it is, and then sat opposite you and you don't even buy yourself a new car or house. What is wrong with you?
I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just trying to put one foot in front of the other, take things one step at a time. And you know what? I think I have that same curse that I had on the show. On America's Got Talent, like I said, you get a little taste of one thing. So it's like, you got to go to the next round. And that's the same thing that happens here. It's like, all right, I've got this TV show that I'm producing. All right, got that shot and done with. Now I got to do this Vegas show. And it's like, all right, what's next? How am I going to make this show better? What's going to be new? Now that we're in the swing of things and we've done X amount of shows, because we opened a little bit ago, right? Just a month and a half ago, whatever. Now it's like, all right, getting a little bit comfortable in the routine. What's going to be the next thing I'm going to add to it? What's the next crazy idea to bring into it? So it's always like, I have this syndrome where
I get it, but you've got to be very careful with that, because you could go through life completely uncontent and then wake up one day at 60 and you've achieved everything and achieved nothing at the same time.
I agree, but at the same time, I'm such a half full person, like the glass is half full all the time. So it never comes from this place of like, oh, I'm not good enough. It comes from a place of like, oh, it'd be awesome if I could make this better, and that process is going to be fun.
But you've made it. You've beaten the odds. You're in Las Vegas. You've got your own showroom. It is full. This might be as good as it gets, and if it is, that's amazing. I mean, you do realize that.
I made it in like 2010, 2011 when I did magic full time.
So what are we arguing about?
We're not arguing about anything. My point is, it didn't take any of this. Like, the goal, all right, maybe I'm pessimistic. Maybe my goals were so low that I met them so early on.
When you were there, you'd made it, and when you're here, you've made it now. What I'm trying to say to you is you are the inspiration of the magic industry around the world that dream of having a show in Vegas. You have to accept that.
That's very kind. I don't know.
I tell everybody, if you've got a show in Vegas and it's successful and you're not giving away free tickets, you're doing great.
I'm glad and humbled by how well...
You're not getting this, are you? I'm trying to explain. You've got $1 million in the bank. Why am I wasting my time with you? I could be talking to somebody who accepts who they are.
I accept who I am. I know what's going on. It's crazy. It's hard to wrap my head around. That's the thing.
Let's do a bit of therapy. Think of me as your Oprah. What more do you want? That's the question I'm asking.
Oh, what more do I want?
You've got NBC specials. You want AGT. The list goes on.
Yeah, I don't know if
you're still driving a crappy car from 400 years ago, but nevertheless.
There's nothing more. I want people to continue and to enjoy this, and I want to continue to do projects that creatively excite me. I never have made decisions based on money or things like that. I choose the projects to get involved with based on what I'm going to enjoy. So like, all of the things that we call quote unquote success that you're referring to, which I think the only real measure for success is happiness.
And are you happy?
So happy, but I'm just a happy-go-lucky guy.
Because you know the great Oprah Winfrey said, we don't evolve as human beings until we're present. So as we sit here, you're embracing it. That's what I'm trying to ask you.
Oh, I'm so much just in this chair. I'm not worried about, this interview will be better 5 years from now when I've achieved this. I don't think of it that way. Well,
got that showbiz mentality, it could all be taken away. It can't be taken away. You've made it.
No, it can.
No.
I feel that it can be.
You've got $1 million in the bank.
It doesn't matter. Anything can change at the drop of a hat. I mean, we've seen it a million times.
A crappy 10 grand car. It can't.
And that's it. Anything could happen. You never know. We can't plan for tomorrow.
You need to live my life for one day and
Why?
see how miserable it
Tell
is.
me, well, it's not miserable. For real? How so? I feel like what you do is fun. I actually would love to know more about your day-to-day.
Don't switch it on me. Let's talk about you. All right, we've got to end. We've been talking far too long. I'm getting on my own nerves now. So let's review. Mat Franco's here at the LINQ in Las Vegas, which is great because you're right in the center of the Strip.
Yes, you can't beat the location. It's amazing. It's the new hot spot. It really, really is. It's right in the middle of the Strip. LINQ Hotel and Casino. I'm like proud to be a member of this place, and I love the showroom. It's nice. It's intimate.
And they renovated it for you.
They did. They revamped the whole place. So when you walk in there, if you'd been here before, you won't even recognize it.
I was here before. Don't you worry about that.
You were.
Listen, Mat Franco's here at the LINQ, and you work, tell us what nights?
Thursday through Tuesdays.
Any 2 show days?
Saturday, we're doing matinees at 4 o'clock.
So you should. You're in show business. I'd want at least 10 shows a week from you.
We're at 7, but we just got started, so give me some time because I'm not tired yet.
Let me speak to your agent. We can get him probably 15 shows a week if we work at it.
Let's not get too carried away.
Mat Franco's here at the LINQ. Really lovely to talk to you. Congratulations on everything. If you don't want your million, please send it my way and buy yourself a decent car, for Christ's sake.
I'll consider
This
it.
is embarrassing going out in some rental car. It's ludicrous.
I'm probably not going to do it.
Millionaire.
Just give me your address.
What
I'll
are you
send you
doing?
the check.
Stupid. This is silly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.